how dry the last few months have been, seeing the sky change from a bushfire haze to storm clouds was a big relief. The rain finally came down, transforming our brown landscape back to green and replenishing the waterways. But as with most things in life, too much of a good thing can cause problems, and this rain brought on a new set of challenges for us to overcome. Because as it got heavier, our dam was filling up fast, but at the same time, all of the rainwater runoff caused a bunch of washouts that needed to be fixed fast so they don't continue to grow and undo all of the hard work we put into building this mound.
Hey guys, welcome to our mound. In today's video we're going to be fixing some erosion issues we had after our last big downfall. So let's get stuck into it.
Alright guys, before we get started, let's take a look at the situation to know what we're working with here. So if we take a look at this area that's washed out a bit here, we can see that water was concentrated in this area when it was draining off the mound basically, and it's ended up washing some of the soil out. And so what we're going to do is we're going to reinforce it with vegetation. And as you can see from these little bits of grass here, we've already been planting kikuyu grass seeds, but they've been pretty slow to get established, especially in the hot weather. And what we've noticed is that the native grasses are actually a lot more resilient in this area. When the kikuyu was running dry, it was turning all kinds of yellowy colors. Native grasses kept powering through. So we've taken a little bit of a different approach today. We've just dug up some clumps, really established clumps of native grasses, and we're going to plonk them straight in here, add some soil, and hopefully they'll be really quick to get started because water is already going to find its way into these crevices here. Alright, so this grass is just beautifully developed, and if you can see that, it's got seeds on it as well. So this one's going to go real nice on the mound, and then the seeds will come off and we'll have even more grass. Look at that root system right there.
Big one.
Oh.
So here we have our lovely barrow of grass that we picked from around the place. Alex can show you how he's going to transplant it.
Yeah, so we've done this a few times already. It's not terribly complicated. We just added to the soil and the roots started growing because this type of grass just really wants to grow. We found that even if you pull some out and you accidentally forget to chuck it out, it's just going to spread its roots, and it's very resilient. So this type of grass here, we don't know the technical name. Maybe you guys can help us out with that if you know. But we've got a love-hate relationship with this grass because it's very sturdy, but it also wraps around your brush cutter blades and it can stall your lawnmower. But this part here is extra bad, so we're going to put this bit of grass here and hopefully it likes its new spot. And next up, once we finish lining this all with grass, we're going to add more topsoil just to try and even out the surface.
Next up, Alex has this big boy to plant.
Yeah, so this is the mother of all grass clumps here, and this is actually the predominant native species of grass that we have here. And if you can take a look at that,
Has some grass seeds.
as a bonus we've got some seeds as well, so we're going to pop those seeds off and bury them in with the plant. And yeah, this grass can take over real quick. If any of you guys have seen our videos where we're reclaiming our driveways, you couldn't see our driveways because this grass grew so quick.
This is what we were tackling.
So let's put this one in now.
I reckon he'll love his new home.
Yeah, I hope it settles in just fine. So we'll pop the seeds off. Just chuck them in. So these ones have already fallen off.
Oh yeah.
And that's a pretty good indication that the seeds are going to be ready. They're ripe. If they're falling off, they're ready to be planted. So we'll just...
And we'll get some soil to cover these ones up.
We're going to cover them up for sure with soil, because what tends to happen is the birds love eating them.
Oh, they always come around for a little snack.
Not this time. So yeah, we're taking a bit of an aggressive approach this time. We really want to nip this erosion problem in the bud and get this whole mound covered in grass as soon as we can. So now we've got 2 types of native grass. We've got a bunch of seeds, and we'll keep doing the same thing until the whole thing is covered in grass.
Okay, so we've planted a whole row of grass down the entire mound, and Alex is just collecting some topsoil to make them all cozy in their new homes. Alex is getting some topsoil.
Yeah, pretty much everywhere an excavator's been and left the landscape uneven, or where we fixed the road and there's a windrow, getting all those extra bits of soil does 2 jobs. Makes the place neater, and we've got some bonus topsoil to use for free.
Win-win.
Alright, next up we've got ourselves some topsoil. We're going to go in and find the gaps where the dirt on the grass clumps wasn't enough to pack it all in nice and tight. And we're going to fill in those gaps, and let's hope the grass roots take over and make everything nice and solid.
Hopefully all the grass loves its new home.
This section's looking a lot better now.
Now time for some tamping, I think.
I think so, yeah. The tools are pretty cool. Alright, so just something interesting to notice as well. You know, this side's requiring a bit of work now to work the grass into the slope again and fix that washed out area. But an interesting thing is that if you look at the west facing side, there's a lot more grass here, and there's basically no issues because the grass is already doing its job nicely. And the reason the grass is not doing too well on this side is because that's north, and for most of the day the sun hits this side directly and it dries it out, and hence the grass didn't do as well, and hence we've got more erosion here than the areas where the grass is already becoming established. Alrighty, so this line of grass is just about complete. So we've spanned it all across there, and now, considering we just placed the grass on the dirt, we're going to pack some dirt around it, and we're going to create a nice cozy home for it. Just because if it's the highest point on this grade, it's going to go dry quicker. But if we now add some more dirt in and the level is more even, then this grass won't dry overly quickly. And the cool thing about this construction is that this is now like a swale. So the flow of water coming off the mound isn't necessarily going to find little concentrated areas like it did before. It'll be more likely dispersed by the grass, and the water flow will be slowed down, and before we know it, the whole thing will be covered in grass, and no one will ever remember that this erosion ever happened. So basically, because it was such a struggle to germinate grass seeds on this north facing mound batter, we decided to spend an entire day transplanting well-developed chunks of grass that will have a better chance of surviving. Their root systems will quickly stabilize the slope, and they'll also create additional shade that will then help new grass seeds to thrive that will drop off of these plants.
see. Can I get in the hole? Oh yeah. Bingo.
Alright guys, welcome back to the north side of the mound, the one that was really dry and washed out. I think you guys are going to struggle to recognize it this time around. Check it out. We found a pretty epic patch of grass near our driveway, and we've transplanted it all here. So just check the place out, it looks completely different. And the best part about this is that now if we throw some seeds down, they're actually going to have a lot more shade and a lot better chance of propagating. Okay, so we've got some grass seeds here that we've collected. So just as a bit of a cherry on top, we're going to place some of them here and then sprinkle some dirt over the top so that the birds don't eat it straight away. Okay, so we've got our grass seeds blend here. Alright, so now taking a look at the south side of the mound where the damage was actually the worst. Already we can see that it looks a lot better. So basically the section right there that got washed away, what I did was I lined the entire thing with these big bushy bits of grass here. So we've got a nice line of grass. Actually, yeah, good thing you can see that. There's seeds on the grass and they're falling off and creating more grass as we speak. And so this is step one of this section. We've got 2 more steps to go because this is the worst section and I really want to get it right here. So what we're going to do is something that I've already started. So I'm extending the bank a little bit and creating a swale, and this swale is going to have Lomandra grass planted into it. So Lomandra is really good for erosion control because its roots go nice and deep. So once we finish this swale, we're going to put in some Lomandra grass here, and then this section all through here has also been washed away a little bit, just this small section here. So what we're going to do is we're going to sprinkle some grass seeds down and we're going to beef it up with some more dirt so that we'll have this level a bit higher. This grass will get started real quickly and hold everything together, and long-term solution is to have the bank here a little bit more and Lomandra grass is going to line it all. Now the reason the Lomandra grass is going to grow kind of there is because it grows pretty big and bushy, so we don't want to reduce the amount of space on the mound, so hence the Lomandra is going to be like a bush here, like so, holding everything together really nice. So here's our beautiful swale here, and we're just gonna pack it in. And this is our Lomandra garden bed now. So we've got our Lomandra longifolia here, and we're gonna add it to this garden bed. So I guess the thing everyone might be wondering, what happens if it rains real heavy again and the water comes gushing down? Well, we've created a swale, so it's going to slow it down, but if we're getting 100 mil of rain, then probably just have to make a drain down there or something and have that as a sacrificial point. Alright guys, welcome back, and I'm pretty excited to show you all that this side of erosion control has now been completed. So we've got a few layers of protection, as you would have seen, building up over time. So this area here has been top dressed with topsoil, and I sprinkled some seeds and raked them in. This row of vegetation here, this has a combination of lomandra planted in a swale, and the swale's job is to slow down the flow of water over time, but it also guides the water to the plant failure point down there, which is the drain made out of stones. So we'll take a look at that in just a moment. So yeah, we've got layer of defense number one is here, new top dressing to replace the soil that's been washed away with some added grass seeds. Here we did transplanting of different types of grasses so that they can establish a lot quicker than just seeds. And also on this edge they got washed out a little bit. I also added some topsoil, and I sprinkled some grass seeds, and then I added a little bit of topsoil over those grass seeds, because you're not supposed to really bury them deep, because then they might struggle to push through the topsoil. But just a little bit of a sprinkle of soil over the seeds is okay. So lastly, what you might already be wondering is, well, grass takes a pretty long time to grow. So what happens if we get another 100 mil of rainfall? And for that, we've got a planned failure point here where I lined everything with rocks. So this is basically the spillway for this section here to channel all the water. And the rocks are going to create a barrier between the soil here, so we don't just lose all of the soil again. And over there is actually one of the local native lomandra species. So I ended up finding it while walking around, and it's actually got seeds on it already, so we can even take the seeds off this plant and create more lomandra plants. So in time, this little rock bed here is probably going to disappear under all the grass, but hopefully it holds everything together in the next rain, and eventually we'll never think about this area again, because all of these grasses are just going to take off. All of their roots are just going to penetrate the soil and create this thick mat of vegetation to hold everything together against future rainfall. One thing we like to think is that when something crappy happens, out of every misfortune there's an opportunity of some sort, and for us we only discovered now what that opportunity has been after fixing all this erosion, and that is our first bush tucker plant that we've got here. So after purchasing some lomandra from the local nursery, what I ended up finding is that we actually have lomandra, a type of lomandra that grows on our land already. So we've been able to dig a couple of them up and to transplant them, and this one here is actually already gone to seed. And the exciting thing about the seeds is that in the future, when these bushes are much bigger and much more developed, you can actually use the seeds to make bread, and you can pull out these whiter bits of the leaves and you can chew on them, you can eat them, you can add them to stews and things like that, and you can even weave baskets out of these kinds of plants, and they've actually got more uses as well. So it's pretty cool that this plant is so useful. We didn't realize, we thought it was just for erosion control, but as these plants mature, we're gonna experiment more. Alrighty, just look at the water here. It's trickling down, mostly down the rocks, but looks like we need to help it out a little bit. Like this here. This here. Redirect the water. Get this out. This out. Put this here. We don't want water rushing through here. We should have probably made this a bit wider, but that's okay. Water is generally rushing down through the rocks there. Pretty big win for this part of the mound is that we've got a pretty big puddle running over here. And it's all already filtering through where this grass was planted, so yes, we might have a little bit of a washout, but grass roots are already getting established and starting to hold everything together a lot better than last time. If you look closely here, a lot of the seeds that were planted have taken off already as well. You can even see them poking out of the water here. So yeah, success. Our erosion control is slowly getting there. Still some work to do. Got to be diligent in watering the grass every day to make sure the roots grow fast and hold everything together very soon, but we're already seeing some improvements, which is great. And you can see the swale is holding back some of the water too, which, you know, in the short term slows it down. That's what we want. Alright guys, this video has been a bit of a mouthful, but we won't leave you without showing some epic before and after shots that we are pretty happy with. It's been especially rewarding to see all of the little seeds sprouting up next to their big brothers and sisters. And of course, to some this may just be an obvious activity of letting grass do what it does best, but for us, it was much bigger than that. It was our first experience of bioengineering where we worked with nature instead of against it to achieve a powerful outcome for almost no monetary investment. But mind you, we did spend well over a week on this project, carrying countless barrows of dirt, grass, and transplanting well over 100 grass bushes. And as always, thanks for stopping by our channel. If you find our videos useful, don't forget to hit that like button, and we'll see you in the next episodes all about drilling our bore well.